So an explicit equation, we say, is an equation that's solved for a specific variable. So that could be like y equals x squared, x equals the cube root of y plus 1, y equals x cubed plus 3x squared plus 7 or something. An explicit formula is one that is not solved. So you could have like x squared plus y squared equals 25. That's an equation of a circle. You could have y squared plus 3 equals x plus 7x squared, and so on. So if one variable is not by itself. So down here, we're just going to practice solving for y. So like your first step is to subtract your x over, so negative x plus 20, and then I'm dividing each term by a negative 4. So y equals 1/4 x minus 5. And then is it a function? It is a function. I'll show you on the next one how you know it's not a function. It's easier to see. So this one here, subtract over your x squared. So I'm going to get 25 minus my x squared, and then square root both sides. And so don't forget, when you square root, you have to have a plus and a minus. So if you wrote the square root, you write plus or minus. Do not square root the 25 and the x squared. There's a plus or minus sign between them. You can't. So right here, so y equals 2 equations. That's how you know it's not a function. If y equals 1 equation, it is. If it equals 2 equations, not a function. So down here, add your x first. So 3 plus x. To get rid of the square, I got to square root it. So remember, square root means plus and minus. My last step is to subtract my 1 over. So y equals negative 1 plus or minus this, like this. The plus or minus means that this is not a function. Here, move over your x. So I get cube root of here, 7 minus. And then to get rid of a cube, well, first I'm going to get rid of the negative sign. So get rid of the negative sign is I'm going to change all of these signs. And now to get rid of a cube root, you just cube the other side. So y equals negative 7 plus 1/2 x to a power of 3. So it's not a plus or minus, so this one is a function. Add over my, subtract over my x, divide by a negative 1. Now square both sides. So I'm going to flip this around. This is the same thing as negative 8 plus that. And now subtract your 1. So I have x minus 8 squared plus 1. And then it's not plus or minus, so this one is a function. This one here, I need to get anything with y's on one side, anything without y's on the other. So I'm going to add my 1 over first. And some of you guys might have seen this when we were doing inverses with rational functions. And now the little trick here is you want to factor out your y. Since both terms have it, you have to factor it. And there's the only way you can get it by itself is to factor. And now divide that term over. And then it's not plus or minus. That is a function here. So function notation. So if we have an equation, we can say y equals 3x squared plus 1. So function is just f of x equals x squared plus 1. So it's read as f of x. And really, this is a difference between just like y equals f of x. It's just a stronger notation. That's why we like function notation. You're saying that it is actually a function here. So evaluating, remember this back from like algebra, that means plug in negative 5 wherever you see an x. So f of negative 5 equals, and you just want to type this part in your calculator, not this. This is the answer part. Type in just the right side into your calculator, and you should get out 78. So same over here, plug in the 9. So h of 9 would be 7 minus a 9 squared. So we get negative 74. Here's the rest of them. All right, so plugging in your 4 here. So it's just going to, instead of rewriting the notation, I'm going to show you how to plug it in. And then you should, most of you guys probably need to type the top in your calculator and the bottom in your calculator and then hit equals. All right, so top, bottom, equals. And then you should get a 1 over 7 when you reduce it all the way down. Plug in negative 2. So this one, when you plug in your calculator, make sure you put a parenthesis right here, because if you try to square a negative without a parenthesis, the calculator gives you your wrong answer. So that should just be typed in your calculator. You get negative 14. This one right here, we get square root of 6 minus 2 times negative 15. So that would be 36. Square root of 36 is 6. this right here. So when you plug this into your calculator doesn't actually do absolute values. It might if you have a graphing calculator, but a regular calculator doesn't. So you're just going to want to do what's inside. And so this is going to be -5 minus 14. So you get -19. And then the absolute values tell you that you need to make it positive. So the answer for this one is 19. Plug in here. So this is 5 times. Make sure you put the negative in a parenthesis, then a power of 4. Just hit equals, and you should get 405. Let's see. I think that's supposed to be a negative cube root of 2 times 17 minus 7. And so the cube root of that's what, 34 minus 7 is 27. Hold on one second. I think the answer key has this one incorrect. Let's see. Sorry, guys. Minus 7. Yes, this is 27 in here. So the cube root of 27 should be -3. Sorry. And then you plug in this here. So now this is more like a pre-calc type questions. So plugging in just actual variables. So 3y squared. So remember you cube each of these. So this is 27y to the 6th. This would be 9y to the 4th. Plug it in here. I get 3 times -5c minus 10 and then -5c plus 5. So when I do this, I get -15c minus 10 over -5c plus 1. So if I pull out a -5 on top and bottom here, that's where I would go from this. So pull that out, I get a 3c plus 2. So I'm running out of paper. That's 3c plus 2 over, that's a 5. And pull out a -5 here, I get c minus 1. So the -5s could cancel. So you're going to end up with 3c plus 2 over c minus 1. So this one down here, when I plug it in, remember this square means you must write this twice. So don't forget a square means you write it twice. So when I write it twice, I get 4a squared. So this is going to give me 14a twice. So that's 28a plus 49. I'm going to distribute in my negative to both of these and then combine my like terms. I get 4a squared. That will give me plus 26a and then a plus, that's 8 and plus 41. So this one over here, a difference of cubes. So this means you would need to write it out 1, 2, 3 times. So then what you would do would be to multiply these two out, so you get m squared, unless you know your binomial theorem, which I doubt you guys do. So you would just write this out twice, like this, and then multiply it one more time. So when you do that, you're going to get m cubed minus 3m squared, 3m minus 1. Multiply in your 4 plus your 7, and you should get okay. All right, last one, we're using a graph. So if I want to do f of 1, I just go to, like, right here's the axis if you can. It's kind of hard to see. So I go to where 1 is, and I'm just going to label what that value is. That's, if you count down how many marks, that should give you -9. So f of -2 is right here. So you say that's a y value of 0. So it equals 0. I'm plugging in a 5 here. 1, 2, 5, and then go up. So it looks like it probably hits at 6. And then at 0, right there, that looks like maybe it's supposed to be a whole number of -8.